For today's video, I'm going to do an October craft club tutorial, show you how to put each of your craft kits together for the month of October and how you can display them in your home. If you guys are new here and you didn't know, I have a monthly subscription box where you can get craft kits sent straight to your door with 3 different craft club box options. You can get exactly what you want out of your subscription service. So without further ado, if you're needing some inspiration in how to put your boxes together, then just keep watching. So this is our first kit. This kit will come in box 1, 2, and 3. With box 2 and 3, you're also going to receive this 6x6 paper pad full of fun scrapbook paper prints for you to use on your projects or other projects that you may have that you're working on. I'm going to show you all the pieces that come with this kit, and then we'll get right into painting. So I'm going to start out by gathering up all the pieces that I'm going to paint the same color, starting with white. I'm going to paint the pom-pom, his mustache, the face with the beard, and then the little fluff that goes across the hat. Now, when painting his beard, one trick that I like doing is, well, I guess a couple tricks, is to do more of an up and down dabbing motion. You're going to get less paint in those engraved lines, but if you do get paint in those lines, you can take a pointy object. I like using a really small needle and kind of going through those engraved lines and scraping out the paint. Then those engraved lines will appear a lot clearer than they do if the paint is just brushed over them and making it hard to see them. So I just kind of go back and forth, up and down dabbing motions. If I get paint in the engraved lines, go back in with my needle and scrape the paint out. For the face and any other, body part, face, hands, I painted with a kind of yellowy, creamy color, just more of a natural skin color. I did paint his nose this same color, and then as well as his hands, you could always opt for a black mitten kind of look for his hands, but I just painted them a flesh toned color. For his body, I'm going to paint red at the top and the bottom. Now you'll see little engraved eyes on this portion of my piece. That is not how they will come. This was just my accident on my end. So ignore those engraved eyes on this portion of the kit. I also go through and paint his present sack red as well. And also the portion next to the hand, I also paint that red. And lastly, for the red are the little berries on the holly. For the nice list, I have a parchment toned paint color. I'm just going to take my time and paint in between all those engraved lines. I don't want to get paint inside of them, but if you do, again, that's okay. You can always scrape it out. I just took my time and went around all the letters and the lines. I'm going to finish off that holly by painting the leaves green. And then for the feet, you only need to paint the smaller or the skinnier shoes. You don't need to paint the thicker ones, since we will be layering the thinner ones on top. And then you can paint your base whatever color you want. I chose to paint mine black. Now for his hat, I wanted to do a fun pattern on it, so I grabbed out the 6x6 paper pad, and I am going to trace the engraved line on here using a needle. Once I was able to find the engraved line, my needle followed that engraved line, and then I traced on the outside, and I was able to cut the Santa hat. Hopefully you can see it on this picture, kind of hard to tell. But I just cut that out, and then I'm going to glue it on with a glue stick. And then it's time to assemble your pieces together. So I like using a wood glue super glue. This comes from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to layer his face on top of his body. I will add his hat and mustache next. You want to put his hat just slightly above his eyes, just almost covering them, but not quite. And then his mustache will go right underneath his eyes. And then you'll add his little pom-pom to the end of his hat, and then you can add the holly leaves and berries onto wherever you want on his hat. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the side of my Santa. I'm going to place him down inside of the stand and then add the sack to the back, get it where I want it, and press it up against that glue. Next, I'll add the nice list into its slot in the stand. I'll add his hand on top of his present sack, and then I will start adding his shoes. So the shoe with the flat portion is going to go right up against that nice list. So it will butt right up to it. And then I'm going to add glue just on top of the shoe portion so that the top shoe is only glued to the bottom shoe and not the nice list. That way, if you want to disassemble it, you can. I'm going to finish off by gluing my other two shoes together and then gluing that onto my Santa. And that is it for this kit. I think this turned out so adorable. I love the Santa shelf sitter. I think he looks so cute paired with all of the different Christmas decor. He's definitely one of my favorites that we've made. This is the kit for box number 3. So in box number 3, you will receive the previous kit, the Santa shelf sitter, plus the 6x6 paper pad, this kit, and then as well as 2 accessory items. This month you'll get a chipboard and an ephemera to use either on this project or any other projects that you're working on for Christmas. So I'm going to go through and just show you all the pieces that come with this kit. This one is fairly easy to assemble, not too many tiny pieces to worry about. So I'm going to grab all the pieces that I'm going to paint the same color, starting with the fluffs on the coats and then the fluff on the hat, and then as well as working on Santa's fluff around his hands and his feet, as well as his beard. Another thing that you can do is use some paint pens or markers if you're worrying about getting in those engraved lines, and that helps a bit when painting smaller details. And then for the clouds, I went ahead and just painted them white. For my 2 elves, I wanted them to match but have a slightly different look. So one elf I'm going to paint mostly green with accents of red, and then the other elf I'll paint all red with accents of the same green. For Santa, I'm just going to paint him in his traditional colors with red, black, and white. Now for the scarf that the reindeer wears, I'm going to paint that green, and then later I did add some red stripes to it. For the elf's shoes and the little pom-poms on their hats, I painted with a metallic gold. Now again, if you're worrying about getting into smaller details and lines, you can always use a paint pen to help with that process. For my reindeer, I mixed a couple different colors together to get this kind of lighter, ashier brown, and I just painted around his entire body. And then for his antlers and his hooves, I took a deeper brown and painted those that color. Now to assemble all the pieces, again, using that wood glue super glue, I'm going to start by adding the fluff to the elves' coats and then the fluff to Santa's coat. I'll add his hat onto his head, and then I'll add the feet to Santa and to both of those elves. Lastly, you're going to add your scarf on top of your reindeer, and then you can start putting your characters onto your clouds. Now, one thing that you want to make sure you're doing when you're gluing these down is that you're not going over the square edge of the cloud. You want to make sure that everything is nice and flush, so when you put this on top of your door, it can actually sit nice and straight. The feet aren't hanging down below that squared edge. You can see what I'm doing here. Hopefully seeing it helps understand better than the way I can explain it. But you're just going to butt all your characters up together so they look like they're hanging on to each other, just making sure none of your pieces go below that square. And then lastly, to top it off, I took a piece of this chipboard accent that comes in your box number 3. It's a little holly piece, and I glued that to the top of Santa's hat. And that is it for box number 3. I think this is so fun and unique. We've never done a piece like this before, so I thought that this was a really fun piece to add to the collection. And just as a reminder, these kits will only be available in the month of October, so if you want these and you're not signed up, make sure that you subscribe to my craft club over on my website, moredecalanddecor.com, before November 1st to snag these super fun Christmas pieces. And that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are subscribed to our craft club, I hope that this was helpful in assembling and painting your kits, give you some good inspiration on how to put them all together. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my craft club family. It really does mean the world. I'm so excited to share these with you every single month. If you aren't subscribed, I hope that you will. Head over to my website and click on that craft club button to subscribe to our craft club and get new kits every single month. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.